Did I just defend Conrad? Who allowed this? In all honesty, if Belly should end up with anybody, she should end up with Cam. Hey guys, it's Emily and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been like a hot minute since I've done a weekly reading vlog, but I felt in the mood to do one, so I'm reading currently. Hopefully that trend kind of continues. I'm going to do other stuff throughout the week too, but you know, I'm trying to get back into reading. I miss kind of being an avid reader as I used to be. I have not set a Goodreads goal this year, and I don't think I'm going to, because I don't expect myself to do super well in the reading department this year, but I just like to read more than I currently do. I have read a few books, not too much. I read What I Like About You by Marissa Cantor, which I gave 4 stars. It was good, but I had some issues with it. And then I read The Magic Between, which I still haven't finished. I'm almost finished it, I think, so I just have to finish it at some point here. But that's gonna get 5 stars for me once I do finish it. I just put it off because I didn't want it to end. So, but it was good. Currently Sunday. It's about like 5 p.m. I have been doing reading today. I have ADHD and I'm currently on new meds, but I'm currently in one of those like modes where I just like start cleaning the house out of nowhere, because I didn't really feel like doing anything else today, so I was just like, well, might as well get cleaning done because it's bothering me and I want things to look nice. So I've been working on that, and I've been listening to a different experience with it, and I have maybe some of the same opinions but differently thought out, if that makes sense. Like, I think I'm thinking of things a bit differently. I'll title this vlog Giving Conrad a Second Chance. So far, I have like a quarter of it left because yeah, I've been cleaning and listening to the audiobook as I do that. So it's good. I'm enjoying it. I'll probably keep my rating the same, which is 4 stars. But I'm having a fun time with it. I do have updated opinions. So honestly, the thing is about Conrad is because despite the fact I'm trying to give him a second chance and I am looking at it objectively, these aren't just being like me bashing on Conrad for the sake of bashing on Conrad. I am looking at it objectively, and I do have some pros to say about him. Like, along with that, back when I did read this series for the first time, Conrad was like the worst of the worst. Like, no one could be worse than him. And since then, I've read about a lot more problematic characters, also known as Bastian from Wolf Bride. If you heard me say the word kidnap, I feel like that's one of the first massive red flag on why he's not a good character. Alec Ryder from Starts with the Bra. In the middle of the night, he like sneaks into her room and then steals her bra. And Nikolai from Queen of Thieves. Those characters, just like in comparison to Conrad, make Conrad kind of look like an angel. Not as bad as I necessarily remember. Middle school Emily's gonna hate me for saying that, but at the same time, I also remember in book 1, it wasn't really my issue with him. Like, he doesn't do a lot in book 1. In comparison to Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah is a bit more outward about his affections and kind of knows what he wants a bit more than Conrad does. I think that's kind of why I ended up, liking Jeremiah, because Jeremiah was very much more outwardly affectionate in that way, and like he was more outward about liking Belly. Plus, we saw it from his perspective, so like how can you not love him? I'm excited about the show, so it's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna enjoy it. It'll be fun to watch. So, reasons to hate Conrad. We'll start with the cons about Conrad. See, that's why his name is, because he's a bunch of cons about him. He's just a flawed character. When he sees Belly after a year, he makes her feel bad twice. Which this part is in the show, but the whole part, like, I thought you looked better with glasses. Where like, who the fudge says this? Like, what kind of, like, when you haven't seen someone in so long, and you're just like, you look better with glasses, like, and just, like, makes her feel bad about it. Where Jeremiah's like, hi, it's so good to see you, you know? One strike against him. It's at the beginning of the book. And the whole thing in the book is I never understood what Belly really sees in Conrad when Conrad spends the majority of the book being a jerk. It's like kind of like when those hate to love stories when like they're like arguing at each other and then all of a sudden they're making out. Like one of those things where just like, you're like, I don't understand why you like this character. So, and he hasn't really done like a lot. Like there's been very few moments that I'm like, okay, that's kind of cute. Like I kind of like this scene. Like this is enjoyable with Conrad, but it's very, very little. He's kind of a jerk the whole time. So yeah, that was in the first chapter. He's already a strike against him. And there's a flashback where he takes Belly to a carnival to like flirt with another girl. So then Belly was feeling pretty crap then too. But I mean, Belly was a bit younger then, so and I don't think Conrad had feelings for her then. So in his defense, did I just defend Conrad? Conrad just treats her like a child. Treats her very childish, and I mean, there is a bit of an age gap. Like, I don't think Conrad's going to university this year, but he is the next year. So I think he's going into grade 12, and I think she's like 16 in this book. I guess he's like a year or two older. I think Jeremiah's the same age as Belly. I think just the way he's kind of almost too protective of her, and like, and not in like a cute kind of way. Like, he's protective of her in like, I'm gonna treat you like a child kind of way. Like, you're grounded. Like, you know, like, and it's the first to point fingers despite the fact, you know, like, he's off making stupid mistakes. Like, for example, like, he doesn't want, I think, Belly to drink or whatever, but then, you know, he's off getting wasted. I swear, like, almost every scene of them, aside from, like, maybe 2 or 3, they're arguing most of the time, which then makes it very hard for you to understand Belly's, like, feelings and how she likes him. I think this book almost would have been better had Belly not had a crush on Conrad immediately. Maybe not until, like, book 3 or something, because that seems to be the only time I see good stuff about Conrad. Like, no one, like, I don't know, like, Conrad's just not, he's just moody and grumpy, and not even in, like, the cute grumpy sunshine kind of way, because I love the grumpy sunshine trope, and I think it can be done well. It's not even, like, cute grumpy sunshine. It's just, like, he's just straight up grumpy, and there is no like, he's not even, like, kind of sunshiny when the sunshine character's around, because that's what makes me kind of soft for grumpy sunshine, in my opinion. Like, that just, it's like all of a sudden, like, yeah, they're kind of, like, not grumpy as much anymore, because, like, they're like, oh, the Sunshine's character's here, and they're kind of, like, kind of happier about that, and I don't know, he's just always kind of grumpy, like, no matter what, and he's constantly just kind of nagging on Belly and making her feel bad. Then why do you like him? It's like, you like him, but you're not telling me why, like, what makes him great, because all I see of him is him being this grumpy, moody guy who just treats you like crap. So Conrad just feels like more of a protective big brother more than a love interest. He kind of treats her similarly to Steven at points, I kind of felt. Like, because Steven definitely came off as, like, your protective older brother, and that's fine for him because he is a protective older brother. And it's kind of weird because I found, like, Conrad was trying to be that in ways, whereas Jeremiah kind of comes up more as her best friend. As a friends to lovers fan, that one's gonna win out. Nothing ever comes easy with Conrad, and that's Belly's words, not mine. And at this point, I'd be happier if Belly ended up with Cam, so sorry, not sorry. The pros. There was one scene where Conrad was kind of protective of Jeremiah, and, like, I really appreciated that. That was kind of cute. I was like, aw, like, little brother, sort of brother moments. It was kind of cute. And there's one scene that I kind of just read, which was kind of cute, where they were kind of, like, I don't know if they were dancing or something like that in, like, his room or something. I don't know, but it was kind of cute. I mean, I feel like I should have liked him before 200 pages, but, you know, we kind of got there. I don't think he's probably as bad as I made him out to be years ago, because, like I said, I've read worse now, so, like, I can't, he's not the worst anymore. Congrats, Conrad. Conrad kind of just sits by and does nothing and just kind of expects the world to love him. That's my ramble so far on Summer I Turned Pretty, and I will update you once I finish it, probably. As for other things I'm reading, I've started People We Meet on Vacation. I started this, like, too long ago, and I need to continue and finish reading it at some point. I'm currently on page 62. This is about this girl, and she goes on vacation. Her name was Poppy, and she goes on vacation with this guy named Alex. And yeah, they're best friends, but they had this falling out, and so, but now they seem like they're going on, like, one last vacation sort of together again or something. That was a really bad plot, but that's kind of the plot. But I haven't picked this up in a while, so nothing to really update you on. And then I have The Girl from the Sea, which all I know it's about mermaids, I believe. It looks cute, and I'm buddy reading this with a friend. Start a little book club, so we just picked this out and we're reading this together, and I'm very excited about it. It looks like cute, it looks like a fun time, I've been wanting to read it, so I'm gonna go clean again and update you in a bit. Hello. So, it is Monday. Last night, I did in fact finish The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. I gave it 4 stars like I did the first time. My friend, she was like, why are you rereading this book if you have such mixed opinions on the series? And I think partly it's because of my mixed opinions, and second of all, the show's coming out, because honestly, I'd never planned to reread this book otherwise. I don't think I summarized this book for you, so if you've never heard of The Summer I Turned Pretty, let me just summarize the plot, I guess. Not a lot happens in this book, to be honest, but basically it's about this girl named Belly, and she goes to this cottage or, like, beach house with her mom's friend and her mom's friend's sons every summer. And so this is, like, I think she's 16 in this book, and this is, like, the summer she turns pretty, so the boys kind of start to notice her, and so she's kind of always had a crush on Conrad, but at the same time, There's Jeremiah, who's kind of always been like her best friend. Something I do love about this book is the summer nostalgia it gives off, just because I would go and visit my cousin's cabin in the summer. Usually it was only for like a weekend or so, like it was only for like a few days, but like I still had that nostalgia of going there, and even when I go back there, it's just that kind of summertime nostalgia in a way. Part of me will always love this book for that reason, and I think that's also why I love summer rom-coms. This feelings, thoughts, opinions, Conrad, I think I have a more laid out opinion, and I think a better way to describe him than I could back when I made the worst of the worst ship list video. It's kind of weird because it's one of those romances that doesn't make a lot of sense, because Conrad's very hot and cold, but like most of the time it's very just cold for like 95% of this book, and then 5% of this book like he has like some decent moments, and so that make you kind of care about him. But I just don't think, from a reader standpoint, when you're told that Belly has a crush on him and you're trying to understand why, it's very difficult to sympathize with her or empathize with her in that way, and to understand what she sees in him when I just clearly don't. Because I think when it comes across, like Jeremiah, like I said before, is kind of one to be more outward about his feelings, where Conrad kind of bottles it up and just kind of treats people meanly because of it. And I don't think it's like a misunderstood thing, like that's just not how it comes across to me. He does absolutely nothing the whole time, and then we're just supposed to like him, and that's kind of always been my confusion with Conrad. I think a lot of people who do like him and claim to be Conrad stans probably like him because of the third book, which I DNF'd because I got spoiled for what happened and I didn't care enough to read it. That's like the only thing I can really come up with, because like with this book, like I still don't understand what people would see in Conrad and why people would like him so much, because he's so cold and rude and just makes Belly feel bad for like 95% of this book. And then she's like, it's always been Conrad. It's like, what kind of crap is this? It's like, no, it's not always been Conrad. Like, what is he doing? Also with like, it's kind of comes down to like something for example, I love the soulmates trope. I don't think that's what this is, but the soulmates kind of trope is something that like, I love it when it's good. Like, you can say that about any trope, obviously. Like, you love any trope when it's done well. But there's some things with soulmates that, like, it cannot be done well. And in one of those cases where soulmates isn't done well is when, like, the characters can basically do anything, like, the worst of the worst, do a bunch of wrong things, but because they're soulmates and destined to be together, it's like totally fine. Which I don't understand that. I don't agree with that, and I don't think that's okay. And while this is not a soulmate like book, she kind of has like, because she's of her crush like on Conrad the whole time, she's kind of like, even like no matter like what happens, no matter what he does, like I'll always kind of love him. I don't agree with, like, you can love someone I think platonically maybe in that way, but there has to be a point where things cross a line, and if someone is constantly making you feel like crap 95% of the time and only making you feel great 5% of the time, I just don't think that's a healthy relationship. It sounds straight up toxic to me. But would you rather have somebody who treats you like crap 95% of the time and treats you great like maybe 5% of the time, or would you, have someone who's like treating you great majority of the time, like 95% or something, but then you have your issues 5% of the time? Because for me, it's the latter half. So it's not really till like the end you can kind of, to some extent, maybe understand, but not really. I got to the end of this book and I didn't feel like there was enough development of Belly and Conrad having good moments in this book to make me want them together, because majority of this book, they have a lot of issues and they don't get along. He's constantly making her feel bad for like the way she looks, or her actions, or making her feel bad about like whatever he could possibly make her feel bad about, he does. Didn't sit well with me, but I give this book 4 stars despite the fact that I'm ranting about Conrad. I just kept my original rating because I did enjoy this book, and there is some stuff to enjoy about it. Like, not a lot happens in this book, like it's just about their summer here. I think the second book kind of has a bit more of a plot line going through it from my memory. But this one, like, plotless. Like, it's just about, like, it's very slice of life, so if that's not your thing, I wouldn't recommend it. It's definitely different than To All the Boys I Loved Before, which I feel like kind of has a bit more of a plot going through it. Whereas this one is just about their summers. It's a fun time. It can make you mad. That's how I feel about this book. Bella didn't annoy me as much in this one. I think it's kind of similar to how I feel about the ship in 1,000 Pieces of You. It's not that I necessarily hate them or that I hate the protagonist. I just hate the way the protagonist talks about her love interest the whole time, it just kind of got annoying, and that's kind of how I feel about, well, I do hate Belly and Conrad together, but that's kind of how I feel about Belly as a character. It's not that I hate her at the moment, it's just the way she talks about Conrad and tries to defend Conrad to me, to try to convince me he's a good person. Aside from like being protective of Jeremiah and like having a little dance scene, like I don't understand why I'm supposed to like him. Like I don't think that's enough because I have more reasons to dislike him than I do to like him. Those are my overall thoughts on The Summer I Turned Pretty. After that I started Flip the Script by Lila Lee. So this is a book about this girl and she is in this K-drama, but it's not like doing the best. She's starring with this guy who is like a K-pop star. He's not doing music for the time being and he's taken up acting, so people are excited to see him in this show, but the show's ratings isn't doing very well, so they first start making the two stars fake date one another to kind of get more press around the show, and then from what I got from the plot line, her kind of, like, they're not enemies, I wouldn't say, but like it seems like kind of an old friend who to some extent like they kind of just drift apart. I don't think they're enemies, they kind of drifted apart because a lot of times they were auditioning for a lot of the same roles. They're both actresses. Because they're auditioning for a lot of the same roles, a lot of times there could be some kind of competitive edge to it, and eventually just kind of got a little too much that their friendship kind of faded apart. So our protagonist is kind of thinking about her a little bit, but it seems like they're going to bring her on the show to be kind of like the second lead, gonna cause like a love triangle. Now there's kind of competitiveness to kind of stay on the show. Then the two of them fall for each other, I believe is where the story's going from what I got from the plotline, which I'm very intrigued by. I've watched a few K-dramas. I haven't watched like a whole ton, but I've watched a few that like when they're talking about stuff, like I totally understand it, or like they'll reference things and I totally understand it. It's good so far. I'm excited to read more of it. I haven't gotten too far into it. I was reading it last night while I was doing some other cleaning stuff. I kind of figured out, I'm pretty sure this is like her friend, because she just kind of keeps mentioning her, and I don't think she's not mentioning her for like no reason. Like I feel like she's gonna come into the book and she's gonna be the love interest from what I gather. So I'm excited to see them meet up and kind of get like more of an opinion, because it's not really, I'm intrigued by the plot, especially the fact that they know each other. I think that makes it even more intriguing. I found in shows at least, like Friends or people who like, you know, start out maybe as they were friends, but they had like a falling out, but then they become friends again, to be really intriguing. I think I could like this. So far, it's good. I'm enjoying it. I don't have too much opinions aside from that. And then I have The Girl from the Sea, which I want to start. I don't know how far we're getting into it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and start this now. Essentially, I don't think I gave a really great plot line before, but it's about this girl, and she is like, I'm pretty sure closeted, kind of ready to get away from this island that she's lived on her whole life so she can kind of live that out because she doesn't want to tell people. Then she meets this mermaid, and I think they fall in love, from what I gather. I'm gonna start this, we'll see how much I get into it. It's like a graphic novel, so like, you know, it's not like it's pictures. I'm sure it won't take me like that long to read. I'm gonna start this and I will update you guys later when I have more things to say about books and all that jazz. So I just finished reading The Girl from the Sea and I gave it 4 stars. I don't like a lot of thoughts because like it's a graphic novel, so I got through it within like an hour or so. But I did enjoy it. It was good. I wasn't sure how I feel about it. It's a standalone graphic novel. Essentially we have our main character Morgan, who lives in Canada, which I don't read a lot of books that take place in Canada, so that's always fun for me because I'm from Canada. She is closeted and doesn't want to come out. She kind of has a plan when she moves away and grows up, then she'll like be her full self, but like right now she's kind of trying to keep it on the down low. He meets this, it's not a mermaid story. She meets this like Selkie, I think it's called, and her name's Kelty, and they'd kind of met previously in the past to some extent, but yeah, she ends up saving, she's kind of like, she's half seal essentially, so still kind of half fish, so like that mermaid kind of like thing, but like a little different. She ends up meeting Morgan and saving Morgan from drowning, and Morgan kind of just thinks she's hallucinating at this time, so she kisses Kelty, and this allows Kelty to walk on land. She kind of tells Morgan like, hey, if you want me around, like I will stay, but like if you don't want me, like I'll go put like my seal skin back on or whatever, and I'll go back into the water, and like you don't have to think about me, and I'll stop bothering you and stuff like that. It was really cute. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. I really felt for the characters. Kelty is just like so adorable, and I love her. And Morgan was fun to follow as well. There's not a lot of books that make me cry, so it's been a while since I've full-on sobbed over a book, like years and years I want to say. I just don't like sadness, and I don't like crying over books, okay? I think, well, like the last time I think that was closest enough to crying was probably The Siren by Kierkegaard, which I'd previously cried over full-on sobbing, and that was kind of just like kind of light tears and just kind of, yeah, so it was kind of not even like no tears like even spilled out, but it was kind of like the feeling, you know, when you get in your eyes when you're kind of like, this is sad kind of thing, if that makes sense at all. But overall, I did enjoy it. I thought the relationship was cute. I wasn't sure, you know, especially because like there was the kiss like so early on, but there was still a bit of development, and you know, like it's only like a short period of time because like I said, this is like a standalone graphic novel, which isn't necessarily my thing. But overall, I did enjoy this. I would recommend it. It was a good old time. Alright, I'm testing out my ring light. I'm still not quite used to it. It's kind of a new thing, so it's not on right now, so we're just gonna see how this goes. So I'm about like 50% I think into Flip the Script by Lila Lee. I am enjoying it, but I think also, I think I should be enjoying this more, and I don't think that's the fault of the book. I think that's just maybe me. I don't know if I'm off right now or what's going on, but I don't know. I just don't feel as passionate about things. But I mean, I'm also kind of in like, I've been on this new ADHD medication, which I think in some ways has been good because I've been cleaning more than I would usually, so that's positive. But also, I don't know, I'm struggling. I don't know if it's like not having like the dopamine rush or what to call it. I don't know what to call it exactly. But like it's struggling to get into things a lot more lately. That's been a bit of a struggle, just like, or feeling passionate or excited about things. It's been a bit harder in general, so it's not like anything I'm feeling is not the fault of the book. So part of me is like, should I put it down and like come back to it? But I don't know. I'm also still like really interested in it, so I don't know. We have been introduced to the love interest of the story, and aka her lead in like the love triangle sort of thing, or opponent in the love triangle, what did I call it? So it's been introduced, and sure enough, it was who I predicted it was, which I don't think it's a surprise. Like, it was pretty obvious, so I don't think that's a spoiler. I am enjoying the direction it's taken, and that these two characters don't hold any ill will against each other. Also, we have a protagonist who can communicate, which is wonderful, especially when I just recently read What I Like About You by Marisa Cantor, and that main character could not communicate for the life of her, so it's very refreshing, I don't know, in general, just to have like a main character who communicates her feelings, because it can be so frustrating just having this like character who like knows how the other character's feeling and just doesn't communicate how they're feeling, so like there's no misunderstandings between them. Like, she's very like, okay, this is how I'm feeling, like let me just get this out there, so you know, I'm not leading him on, or you know, like stuff like that. Like she's just very upfront about her feelings, and I really appreciate that about her, and it's very refreshing to see that, because I feel like with a lot of main characters, so it's very nice to see this book does not have that, and we don't hold like any grudges, and it's very just refreshing. It's honestly so nice. I'm gonna kind of compare this to the Henna Wars, because this is doing what I think the Henna Wars was trying to do in a way, but like the Henna Wars were like almost the opposite direction, if that makes sense. This book is just doing what I wanted the Henna Wars to do in a way. We have these characters who are friends, and what's really nice about this also, first of all, they were kind of just getting like the first hints that there might be something kind of romantic between them, but I really appreciate that this was just a friendship to begin with. These two characters, they had met in like, I don't know if it was theater school, but they went to like some acting school together, and a lot of times they've been up for like the same kind of roles, so it's kind of like supposed to be like a competition between them, and if they do have a competition, like it's playful, but they've always been really supportive of one another, and it's really nice to see. We also get told that our protagonist is bi at the beginning of the book, and she knows that, but she's also never been in love or anything like that. What I think so often a lot of friends to lovers stories often miss is the friendship aspect, and I really appreciate this book taking the time to show us that they are friends in friends to lover stories, and it's an oftentimes this thing is like constantly missed, and like it can always be a bother to me that it doesn't always affect how I rate a book or something, but it can be bothersome when like I feel like they don't, like they tell you, oh, it's friends to lovers, but like just to let you know these two characters are already like in love with each other. I don't know, maybe like Mal and Lena, Child and Bone, for example. We'll use them as an example. I feel like they're kind of a bit more common, but you kind of know. At least, like, Alina has, like, a crush on Mal from the beginning of the story. Mal, we're not quite certain about, but it is revealed, like, he does return her feelings, sort of thing. So, and I love Mal and Alina, but they do fall under the trope of they like each other kind of immediately, where it's, like, insta-lovey friends to lovers. It gets away with it because it's friends to lovers, so they've known each other for a while, so it kind of, there's some wiggle room within that. Within the show, we don't know that Alina likes Mal, which is kind of refreshing in a way, because we get to see their a bit more slow burn, which I kind of prefer them in the show for that reason. I really like that this book just shows their friends without adding romance into that yet, and we're kind of just seeing the first bits of it, that they're starting to like each other. Like, I'm writing a friends to lovers book, and that's kind of also what I'm doing, where, like, I get to show them as friends, and, like, here's their friendship dynamic, because it's how, like, what they mean to each other, and, like, because of their relationship, blah, 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 and then be like, okay, but now they actually have romantic feelings for each other, and it might not just be platonic. I really appreciate books when they do that, because that is how you write friends to lovers. And back to the Henna Wars. This was kind of reminding me of the Henna Wars, but like I said, this book is doing what the Henna Wars could not. And the Henna Wars is one of those books that I just felt like it didn't know what it was trying to be. It wanted to be so many things, and it also had factored into the main character already liked the love interest at the beginning of the book, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like it wanted to be so many things, because then it was like, oh, it's kind of friends to lovers, but then it kind of became enemies to lovers, and you just didn't know what I wanted it to be. This book I went into thinking it was enemies to lovers, and it's not that. Just based on the like, you know, like, oh, like, it's the second lead and they're kind of gonna have to battle, but, like, then they end up falling for each other, so it kind of makes you think that, like, it is going to be enemies to lovers, and it's not. It's friends to lovers, which is wonderful, and really refreshing, and I really like that, like, any tension that there is, it's very mild, and it's resolved very fast, so it doesn't last that long. She starts talking to her, I don't forget her name, what's it? It's blanking on me right now. I knew her name. But yeah, Hana starts talking to her again. Hana's the main character, I don't think I've said that yet. And she finds out that, like, it's, like, around the time they started talking again was also around the time her friend got offered the role to be the second lead, or whatever it's called. I'm just gonna refer to it as that for now, but, like, you know, as the other love interest character. And she was kind of disappointed that she didn't tell her, but then they were able to talk about it, number one, real fast, so, like, I was kind of worried it was gonna go into, like, an enemies to lovers standpoint at that point, and, like, not gonna be, you know, friends, but they talked about it really fast. She's like, why didn't you tell me? And she was like, oh, you know, like, you kind of had a lot going on, and, like, I didn't want to, I don't know, tell you right off the bat, and, like, they resolved it so fast, and it was so nice to see. It was like, okay, well, this is not going to be our conflict for, like, the next how many pages. Like, we just get to see them as friends, and now they're having, like, last time I left off with them, they were, like, having, like, a scene together where, like, their characters are fighting, but, like, they're just, like, getting along so well. And it's very nice to see. I'm very much enjoying that aspect out of the book. Because I feel like also, like, it's one of those things where I feel like in most stories you would expect these two to get together, especially with their fake dating. They had a lot of banter in the beginning. Like, you would assume, like, this like, in, I don't know, not normal circumstances, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, like, in typical circumstances, a lot of times that would be the main ship, but I really appreciate that it's not. And that we're like, no, it's flipped on the other side. I want a bit more screen time of the romance, because I feel like we just haven't seen a whole lot of it. I feel like I'm talking very passionately here, but, like, I don't know, I'm not feeling as passionate about it as I want to be, because I don't know, I think the way that it's mapped out, like, it could be a new favorite, but currently it feels like a 4-star, which is not a bad thing, but I think I just want more out of it, so I really want it to be a 5-star, and maybe that's kind of it, because I'm just kind of getting back into reading, and maybe just, like, my perceptions just wanting to love something so bad is maybe putting too high of expectations on this book and making it something that it's not. But yeah, this is a really good book. I highly recommend you check it out. And it's just doing, it's taking all the things I hate and, like, making it, like, they're not doing it, if that makes sense. Like, they, you know, whereas, like, this book is pretty clear. They don't really hate each other at all. Like, they'll have, like, a little moments, but, like, that's about it, and it's very, very tiny, whereas, like, in the Henna Wars, it was very hot and cold, and this just knows what it wants to be. Like, the Henna Wars didn't know what it wanted to be, this knows what it wants to be, and that's great. It's friends to lovers, but there's obvious tension for very good reasons, but, like, the tension is pretty, not as high as you would expect it to be. It's very, 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 very mild. It's, like, a very small part of the book, which I think if you're going into it and you're expecting enemies to lovers, this is not what that is, but there is, like, some kind of mild tension, because they are kind of competing to, you know, be the main love interest in the show. But at the same time, they also really care for one another, and they're also kind of rooting for each other, and they're trying, you know, like, it's pretty friendly competition, if that makes sense. Kind of just had, like, the main character sort of noticing her friend, and, like, kind of, like the way she kind of, like, looks, and it's kind of like, okay, this is a little different. I am enjoying this a lot. I'm gonna pick it back up again. I just didn't do as much cleaning today, but I have, like, I think 2 hours left of the audiobook, so I should fly through it pretty fast. That being said, another book my projected other 5-star is People We Meet on Vacation, which is also Friends to Lovers, and it also does the same thing where we really see these characters as friends. It sounds like they both might have had romantic feelings for each other in the past and still kind of do, but they're not like upfront about it, and they're kind of waiting for the other character to say something because they're kind of too proud to be the first one to say it, is from my guess, and might have been part of their falling out, because neither one was really necessarily willing to admit it. So this book is told in kind of like dual timelines, so we're seeing like their current summer and their current vacation, but we're also seeing flashbacks of summers, and I think one of them was like the first summer vacation they went on, which was really cool because they came to Canada and they went to Victoria, which I have been to, and they talked about chapters, which at first I was like, you know, that might be an Indigo now, but then like, because I used to work at Indigo, I had a chapters in my town that turned into an Indigo, and I was like, that might be an Indigo now, but then I realized this was a summer 10 years ago, and I was like, you know what, it was probably still a chapters at that point, even if it is an Indigo now. They talked about having a cafe there, which I'm pretty sure is just a Starbucks, but at least it is here. But I could be wrong, and maybe it wasn't a Starbucks, maybe it was a cafe, so I mean, that's not necessarily saying that's wrong, because I could be totally wrong. I don't think I've been to the chapters in Victoria, so I honestly wouldn't know. I've struggled to get into this book despite the fact that I am enjoying it. I've just been struggling, I think, to love things recently, and I don't know, maybe that's just like a seasonal thing, but then at the same time it's like, do I want to read a book I think I'm going to give 5 stars at a time when I'm not really giving books 5 stars, if that makes sense at all. Like timing wise, I think it's something I'm worrying about. Like I'm like, shit, is this the right time to read this book? The more I update you guys now, I'm kind of like feeling a bit better about it, and maybe that was it. I don't know, the update to come out of me being like, okay, this is how I'm feeling now. Things have been going well, but I'm just feeling kind of off. I've been feeling weird because I'm not being creative, which I think when I'm not making something, it's very weird for me and it's not a fun time. I've been struggling to edit, I've been struggling to write. I just haven't felt like doing any of those things, but at the same time, when I'm not using my creative energy, it's just kind of like, what do I do with it? It's like that creative energy is just kind of gone. It's gone dormant. So maybe that's it. I don't know. That's all for now, and I'll update you guys in a bit. It is Tuesday, and I didn't really read much today. I had kind of an off day. I'm on some new ADHD meds, and so I wasn't entirely sure about updating, so that's why I didn't, because I wasn't feeling the best. I didn't really read a lot today. I didn't finish anything, so I just didn't feel like I had much to update you on. Flip the script. It is good. I'm enjoying it. We have gotten to a point where our protagonist, Hannah, has realized she likes Minji, her friend. I finally know their names. It's cute, but it's just like, and I like the relationship, but I just like, it's part of the, I might come back and reread this book sometime and give it like another shot to be 5 stars in a way, or maybe it just is a 4-star and that is what it is, because I don't know, in my brain it just feels, this book feels like it could be a 5-star, but at the same time I'm not sure. Maybe I'll give it a 4.5. I don't know. This book just has done everything well, and there's something I dislike about this book because it's taking all these tropes and things I normally dislike, and like tropes I dislike, but it's just like doing what I want it to do, like not like it's taking these tropes and like doing the opposite, like miscommunication. There is none of that. My main character communicates how she feels, and like if she doesn't communicate, there's usually like a reason for it, and it makes sense. Like communicating is something that necessarily needs to be told all the time, like just given her situation and stuff like that, like it's understandable why Hana's kind of withholding her feelings. I'm excited to read more of this. We've definitely seen like a lot more of Minji, which has been great, and I've been enjoying that a lot because I feel like in the first half we weren't seeing as much as her, and now we're definitely seeing a lot of her, and I just really like the dynamic, and I really like that this was Friends to Lovers, which was a surprise because I was totally expecting it to be enemies to lovers. So now I can like pitch it as Friends to Lovers, and it's like really, really good. So I really want people to read this book. I feel like you might have heard her a lot of these books before, so now I want to read her other book. I was like, I'll be the One or something like that. So I'll have to read that one too. I really like this book, and it's just doing everything right. So no complaints here. Hello. So I recently I moved all my red books in here, which I'm probably gonna move out here. But for now, I kind of like the look of them. So. And I don't feel like moving them right this second. Today's Thursday. I didn't update you guys yesterday because I didn't have time, but I did read. I'm like almost done flip the script, so I'm kind of gonna hold off updating on that one right now. Anyways, I have been reading People Who Meet on Vacation. Yesterday was busy, so I cleaned a bit, but I was also out a lot, and then today I was still cleaning this morning, but I still didn't listen to my book, so I just didn't finish it. And then I had a friend over, so that was fun, and now I am chilling. So I have free time. What a concept. So yeah, I'm currently on page 127. I am enjoying it. I got really into it, like I didn't want to stop reading it, which was very fun, finally, because I've been reading this book for like so long, longer than this book should honestly take me. Maybe if I was like in a different state of mind and I was reading like a bit more frequently, I could probably get through this book a lot faster than I have been, because I've been putting it off for far too long, so that's just a problem, but it's fine. I feel like I just kind of got into it, and like I'm kind of just like obsessed now. And I just like the direction the story's going. There's definitely some underlying stuff. Like so I had some theories, I think, towards the beginning that there's like a reason that their friendship broke up, which I think definitely has to do with the romance in a sense. But I think I originally thought he like confessed like his feelings to her and it was just unrequited, and that she didn't feel that way about him. But I'm starting to think maybe that's not the full story. I think she might like him, but I don't think she wants to like ruin their friendship. And I mean, at the same time, like if it was already ruined, then like what's the point? I just don't have a lot to say honestly right now, but I just wanted to update you because I feel like I haven't done that, and I feel like I should do that because it's a weekly reading vlog, not just like here's what I'm reading. Because if it's just like a secret kind of reading vlog, like in my friends to lovers video or something like that, like I'd be like, okay, well I'm halfway, this is my opinions, I'm reading these 5 books in this video, and that's what you get. So yeah, it's not quite that, so I feel like I have to kind of update a little bit more. So skip today, it's fine. But yeah, I've been staring at my bookshelves because I'm like, look at how nice it looks. But I think, yeah, this is like pretty temporary, it being here, because this should not be the space for my Reddit books. Like I think I need more space for it, so I'm gonna move it back today or tomorrow. And I think I'm gonna use this for my overflow TBR books, the books I know have been on my TBR for too long. I think I want to get back into doing that, like those videos where I rewatch my old TBRs and read those books. So I think I might combine them. I might not just make them like a TBR, I might just make them like a whole video within of themselves where they're just like kind of like, hey, this is the video, this is me finding out the books, and then this is me reading the books. I just think that might be more interesting and fun to do. I will update you in a little while. Hello. So I'm on page like 170-ish of People We Meet on Vacation. I've been sitting here and reading it. I'm having such a good time. I'm obsessed now. It's very cute. It's friends to lovers. It's just my jam. It's just like everything I want in a book. Like it's like we have like summer there's somewhat summer vibes because like they're on vacation obviously, which is perfect because it's June right now. Which like the friends to lovership, which this is what it's so different than beach read, which I had such like a bad time with. Well, not a bad time, but it wasn't great. It was kind of sad. It was a bit of a downer, which makes me, I don't know, I just feel like this is what I wanted. I don't know, this is more what I would have wanted for beach read. There's like not really this like, there's not like this underlying sadness that beach read had. Pick up beach read thinking it's like a lighthearted rom-com, and it's not really that. This is more lighthearted rom-com. Like there is some there's very lots of angst. It's very angsty, but it's like fun. Characters just make you smile. Like their friendship's like adorable and a fun time. The more I get through this book, the more I get closer to finding out what the heck happened in Croatia. I think what their issue is that they seem to want different things at the same time. I think like it's kind of clear Poppy doesn't necessarily know what she wants anymore at this point in her life, especially with not talking to Alex isn't that much for the past 2 years. She definitely missed that, and I think that's kind of, this trip's going to bring a lot of clarity to her, and I think she does want a lot of the same things Alex does. I just don't think she knows that completely yet, and she's very like, it's very clear she wants to be with him, but she doesn't want to get hurt. So while she's not completely opened up and said distinctly, I'm in love with Alex and I want to be with him, it's very clear she does kind of seem to harbor some of those romantic feelings. I just think she's kind of pushing them down a bit. Alex, I'm not, like, at the beginning of the book, I thought it was definitely him who was going to fall first, but I think Bobby might have fallen first? I don't know, because it's hard because you don't have his perspective, so, like, I don't have that to lean on. But I think also, while I would love his perspective in this book, I think it also kind of adds this, like, mystery if we don't know completely how Alex is feeling. I mean, I would read this book, again, from Alex's point of view. If it was ever to be written, I would totally do that. But I think it actually kind of works, this one not having his perspective. This is just cute, it's a fun time, it makes me happy, and I just keep thinking about these characters, and I think they're going to stick with me for a while, and it's definitely a 5-star. I can't see it being lower. So yeah, that's all for now. I'm going to continue going, and I'm going to see if I can finish it tonight, because honestly, I feel like I could. Like, I mean, am I getting halfway? I'm getting there. I'm making progress. I'm like 170. I feel like, how many pages is this book? It's 364 pages. So, like, I got like 200 pages to go. So I'm gonna drag my way through this, and I'll update you guys when I get further on, and yeah, maybe when some stuff goes down. We'll see. Alright, so I read a little bit more, so like a small, like a little update, but I'm on page like 195. This book has flashbacks, I think I mentioned before, but it flashes back to like previous summers and previous trips they've gone on. It does that sometimes every second chapter or so, but right now, like, I'm so invested in, like I really enjoyed these chapters and stuff like that,
but like right now I'm so invested in what's currently happening in the summer, and also just like the eagerness to know what happened in Croatia. But like also like I don't care what's happening 6 summers ago right now. I just want to see what's happening right now, and like I do not care right this second. Like I'd care at another point in time, but the tension is just like so high, and the angst is so high, and I don't care right this second. I will care at some point. I obviously do care because I'm enjoying this book, but like I just want to see what's going on with the characters right now.
I ended up reading a lot more. Didn't quite finish it yet. Thought that'd be the next one to update you probably, or so. I'm on page 270. I'm gonna stop for here for now, and I'm gonna pick it back up again later. But I feel happy now, so I'm kind of just like, I don't know, I need a break, I think. But I've also been staring at pages for like, oh goodness, what time is it now? I think been reading for like 5 hours straight almost. That just feels like a lot, so I just kind of want a break. Now I'm kind of at a scene where it's kind of like, we're getting like flashback scenes, and I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but I think it did, but I was like so not in the mood for them at this point. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to Croatia and what happened there, but now at the moment we're like, I don't really care right this second. I think the flashbacks were a bit more fun in the beginning, and then they're still fun. They're obviously there for a purpose and they build suspense, but like at the moment I just don't care. I think I'm gonna take a break and watch edits because that's kind of what I feel like doing right now. Good morning and happy Sunday. So it's been a hot minute since I've updated for this vlog. It's been like 2 days. Been somewhat of a busy-ish 2 days, but some of the days, like, I didn't read a whole ton, I want to say. I did finish Flip the Script, but I didn't have like much of that left. But to be fair, as soon as I finished like the last clip, I then realized The Summer I Turned Pretty dropped on Amazon Prime. So then I went and binged that. I haven't like actually finished it yet. It's been a fun time. Since watching the show, I've already posted like 2 edits on my editing Instagram, which I'll link down below if you want to check out. You know, share my love for Jeremiah Fisher, because I think he is critically, I don't know, what do you want to say, underrated. I think that's kind of what I was expecting from the series. Like, I was so excited to see Jeremiah on screen, but what I was not excited about was the hype Conrad was gonna get, and I was like so not ready for that. I was never going to be ready for that, just because I think like this is like one of those series that like I read, and everyone like had heard of like 12 the Boys of the before, which I think to some extent I do prefer in some scenarios. Like I think I prefer, like I obviously prefer Jeremiah and Belly I think as a ship overall, but I think I prefer Laura Jean as like a main character, and I could get behind Peter, I guess. I think more so than I could ever get behind Conrad. So it was like one of those series that like not a lot of people talked about. I think even when it was kind of like I never really heard people talk about it on BookTube that often, but it was like to some extent known, but like no one ever talked about it. No one ever talked about like Jeremiah. No one ever talked about Conrad. So it's always kind of just been like my little thing that I had such strong opinions about that I always have to like explain to other people. But now like I mentioned The Summer I Turned Pretty and people like know what I'm referencing, which is an interesting time. It's an interesting feeling because people now understand what I'm talking about, and it's very fun because my cousin who I ranted about the series like years ago has watched the show and feels the same way I do, and we started like ranting together. So that was a fun time. I was like, you understand now. You know what I'm talking about. What a concept. I'm just hoping somebody from like years ago who like went to school with me, or I don't know, like remembers me talking about the series, like now like sees it and is like, okay, now I get it. Okay, this is that Conrad character Emily hates. I will review this series. Let's just kind of talk about the TV show before I get into book stuff. But overall, I do really like it. I still have like to finish episode 6 and then episode 7, but I do already know what happens. There's definitely some changes, but I think also that has to do with the fact that The Summer I Turned Pretty in general is a book. Not a lot happens in it, which I definitely took from rereading it. Like, it's very slice of life. It's very just like about the summer, whereas I feel like this show kind of, because it gets made, you know, 10-ish years later, there's a lot more drama involved, I think. There are some big changes they definitely did make. Conrad still sucks, but I will say show Conrad is definitely better than book Conrad. Not by much, but a little bit. There were some times in the show where like he'd be in a good mood, and I swear all the characters were also like, wait, what? Well, who is this man and what has happened to Conrad? Like, why is he happy? Who allowed this? But it was kind of funny to see him like in a good mood, but he still like 95% of the time was a jerk. And then Jeremiah was kind of just like, once again, like I've said before, pretty outward about his feelings, and very much shows how much he cares about Belly, and Conrad doesn't really do that. He just kind of like screws everyone over. He's constantly mean to her, doesn't tell Belly how he feels or denies it, and just like makes her feel terrible. And so it's similar in the show. You kind of wonder, like, they have a few good moments. I think they definitely have a few more good moments in the show than they do in the book, given it's kind of longer in a way. But at the same time, I don't think it's enough, especially in comparison to Jeremiah having majority of the good moments with Belly and Conrad having a select few. I just still think Jeremiah is still the better one. And there is some people who like to argue with me because if you've read the third book, you kind of know some stuff happens with Jeremiah, which, in my opinions, I guess, just what happens with Jeremiah, I just personally think is very out of character for him. It came out of nowhere, and it just felt like a ploy for Jenny Han to have an excuse to have Belly end up with Conrad. But here's the thing, if we want to villainize Jeremiah, we're gonna villainize Conrad here too, because Conrad is honestly no better. In all honesty, if Belly should end up with anybody, given the whole series, like whole book series, she should end up with Cam. Cam is better than Conrad, so if you're gonna fight me on this whole, well, Jeremiah did this, like, I don't think just because Jeremiah didn't do something great means that she should end up with Conrad. I think if in all honesty, if that's what we're gonna play, she should end up with Cam. Cam was really cute in the show too. I really liked him, and I hope we see more of him. I feel like, I know in the books obviously not, but I don't know, I just feel like Jeremiah and Cam in the show had this kind of fun friendship, and I'd just love to see more of that in season 2. I don't know if we will, but hopefully, fingers crossed. I just think they were kind of a fun duo, so I would love to see more of them. I think what is kind of similar to how I think a lot of people reacted with Shadow and Bone is a lot of people didn't seem to like Mal and Shadow and Bone, but I think it was always ironic that people tried to make Mal out to be the problematic one over like the Darkling, who was the literal villain. But a lot of people did end up liking Mal in the Shadow and Bone show because we got to see from his perspective a bit more, and we kind of got to see inside his head a little bit and understand him a bit better, and I think that's kind of the same here with this show and how I felt about Conrad afterwards. I still don't like him. I'm never going to like him. I'm never going to be Team Conrad. That's never going to happen. And I think I knew that going into this book. I obviously wasn't gonna flip. Like, I knew that wasn't gonna happen, but I just wanted to see if I was missing something and he's better than I remembered. Do I think he deserves all the hype? No. I still think Jeremiah probably deserves more hype, I think, than Conrad, because Jeremiah was in the show and in the books, I think, a better love interest overall, and he's just really adorable in the show too, and like, it's just a surreal feeling also just like seeing him on screen. Like, he was my crush in middle school, so seeing just like, I feel like I'm reliving that like phase of my life in a way, but like now I have people to talk about it with, which is so fun. Like, people just like, they're just like listening to me trying to explain all of this, like they know what I'm talking about, which is a fun time. Also, Jeremiah deserves better. So I also finished Flip the Script, which I gave a 4.5. I really like this book. I wish I kind of did an update because I think I actually had more clear, concise thoughts when I was at like 25 minutes left, and I feel like I should have just updated my thoughts and feelings then because I don't really remember what they were now. I will say the second half of this book was definitely better than the first half, which says a lot because I did enjoy the first half, but I think there was definitely a lot more romance development on the second half of the book, and I really liked the direction it took. There wasn't like miscommunication. I feel like I really related to the protagonist of this book with the way she dealt with a lot of situations. Not that I'm like the best communicator, but I know when like something's wrong or I feel something's off, I tend to try to contact this person and be like, hey, let's talk about this. Let's resolve it, whether it goes my way or not. So I really liked that there wasn't the miscommunication trope. It was just simply like, we had this protagonist who knew how to communicate and knew how to resolve issues, and I just really appreciated that. She wasn't like immature, if that makes sense. Like, she's very mature, I think, for a typical YA protagonist, and she's not like a frustrating protagonist to follow, like, whatsoever. Like, I don't feel like I'm screaming at her like I am for some protagonists in some books. She's very fun to follow, and I think you'll just be like, whoa, like, wait, you're not gonna drag this plotline out for the whole entire book? What a concept. So that's just, I've been commenting on that a lot, but I really appreciate it. The romance aspect was very, very cute. I loved the friends to lovers aspect, and I think it was done well. And I just liked the direction the story took overall. When it came to the K-drama, when it came to the plot in general, when it came to the romance, I think it did everything perfectly. So I would just highly recommend this book. It did many things well. You should definitely check it out if you have not. But I think, yeah, you might have heard of her other book, I'll Be the One, which I want to check out. especially now that I love this so much. I did pick up Waiting for You by Suzanne Calsanti. I don't know where I am. I started the audiobook. I'm probably like a few chapters in or something. Essentially, like, what's the plot? It's been kind of boring so far, which honestly this came out, I don't know how many years ago. Like, it seems like a pretty old book. I feel like I've owned this book for quite a few years. This came out in 2009, so I think around the same time as The Summer I Turned Pretty, and it's honestly kind of boring so far. Where we follow this protagonist, and there's this guy she's a crush on who's like friendly and popular, and I don't know, a cool guy named Derek. And then we have Nash, who was kind of like her childhood friend, but they're not like completely close anymore. But now they're kind of hanging out again, but she's not like interested in him. She kind of finds him repulsive, but I think they're gonna fall in love, I'm assuming. I don't know. I feel like that's the way the story's gonna go, because we haven't really seen like anything of Derek that much, so I just so far already feel like that's the direction it's gonna take. I have to go back because I think I fell asleep while I was listening to the audiobook of this, but it's fine so far. I'm not like, it's not anything special, I guess. It's just kind of okay, but I will keep you updated. I'm gonna see if I have like a bit of a headache right now, so I think I might actually lie down for a bit, and I might end up trying to edit this vlog for what I can today. We'll see how far I get into that. But yeah, that is all for now, and I'll update you in a little bit. Good morning. So it is, what day is it? It's Monday today. So I'm gonna wrap up the vlog here. I realized I kind of went another day into this vlog because I forgot that I started it on Sunday, which I figured out while I was editing it. But anyways, I need to finish editing up and try to upload this vlog today, so you can see it and it's out in the world and all that sort of jazz. So I want to wrap this up, but before I do that, I want to end this vlog. You know, this has been a pretty Summer I Turned Pretty vlog-ish, to some extent, I guess. With all this talk about, like, the Summer I Turned Pretty and, like, the show coming out and, you know, me becoming re-obsessed with Jeremiah and all that sort of stuff. Today, we are going to do something I'm a little bit scared about. You may remember, you probably don't, but there was this readathon a few years ago called the Biannual Bibliothon, and one of the challenges, one of the years, was Message in a Bottle, where essentially you write a letter to a fictional character. Now, in this video, I never actually read the love letter that I wrote to Jeremiah, but I did in fact write a letter to Jeremiah, and I'm a little scared because I had put it in my copy of We'll Always Have Summer. So this love letter is just sitting at the back of the book, and it's been sitting here for a few years, and I've never read it back, and I'm a little scared about it, but we're gonna read it today. We're gonna read my middle school self writing a love letter to Jeremiah Fisher now that the show's out, and I feel like now people actually know who he is, and he's not just like some random nameless character, the Larry faceless character like we're talking about. Goodness gracious, I'm scared. Dear Jeremiah, you are my favorite character in The Summer I Turned Pretty. Why? You rarely get angry, and you are so kind and fun. Oh gosh. She played with your heart in the most horrible way possible. You don't have... Oh, I wrote the wrong there. Look at that. You don't have someone there for you. While reading the books, everyone always said, be there for Conrad. My question is, who was there for you when you went through crap? That's what I was saying! I'm still saying that to this day. No one. I want you to be happy. I wish you will always be my favorite character. If I was in the story, I would be there for you. People always need someone looking out for them. Love, Emily. I mean, it's not terrible, but like, it's not like I was confessing necessarily my undying love. I was just like, you know what? You deserve to have someone there for you too. I would choose you in a heartbeat. Like, Conrad who? That hasn't been this whole entire vlog. You know, part of me hoped maybe if like Jeremiah was real, like he would have responded to the letter, but like, excuse me, Jeremiah, you never got back to me. Excuse me. But anyways, I don't know what's up with Belly. I would have chose Jeremiah in a heartbeat. Like, my sister's watching the show now, and she's like, why doesn't she have a crush on Jeremiah? Like, why does she like Conrad? So she's having the same questions I did. So like, I feel a little bit hurt when like people I know in real life are having the same opinions as I do. I'm like, thank you, you understand. Let's jump into kind of a recap of what I read this week. So speaking of The Summer I Turned Pretty, the first book I finished was The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This was a reread for me. I give it 4 stars. Was still good, I think, second time around, but it wasn't a book I ever planned on rereading, honestly, because of how mad this series had made me, but given the audiobooks are now narrated by the actors, plus the show came out, I've been reading my Summer I Turned Pretty phase, so I feel like I'm, like, reliving all those emotions again, and getting all defensive about Jeremiah, which, I mean, I always will be, okay? He's my choice, and that's that. So, I think if you watch the show and then you go back to read the book, you're gonna be like, wait a second, like, why is this kind of boring? Like, I don't know. I feel like people who actually watch the show are going to have a more difficult time reading the books because not as much happens in the books. The next book we have is The Girl from the Sea by Molly Knox Oster. Tag, which it was a graphic novel. I gave this 4 stars. It was a fun time. And then finally I finished Flip the Script by Lila Lee, and I gave this book a 4.5. I had a pretty good reading week overall. I didn't finish People We've Been on Vacation yet, but I will, probably this upcoming week. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a big fat thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more of this lovely face, and I will talk to y'all soon in a new video. Goodbye!